Hello, beautiful being, and welcome back to the Kajeology podcast. I'm so excited to have Miss Renee Guay here on the Kajeology podcast. I met Renee because a few summers ago, it must have been summer of 2021, my friend Becca invited me to join an aerial class where we would learn aerial silks and the lyra and all sorts of beautiful tricks and flows and things. And Miss Renee was the one who was teaching that class. So, welcome to the show, Renee. I'm so excited to have you.
Yay, thank you so much, Katie. Yeah, that was such a magical time in my backyard in Sierra Meadows and Truckee, and to have all the women back there just flowing and flying and expressing and tapping into their creativity. It was a pleasure to have you there, and you were so good at it too.
Thank you. I saw in your intake form that you also go by Reina now. Is that right?
Yeah, I've been living in Lake Atitlán, Guatemala for a little while now. I've spent about 2 years now on and off, and the name kind of just came to me. It means queen in Spanish, and I'm in a Spanish-speaking country, and it's really a play off of my name, Renee. It looks like Renee, it sounds like Renee, but it's just the artist version of me, the facilitator, the performer, and just this other alter ego of myself.
Hell yeah. I love it. When I saw that, I was like, that makes so much sense. I'm all about it. So can you tell us a little bit more about what you do? You mentioned performing, you mentioned artistry. What is it that you are doing in the world? What is your craft? What is your work?
Thank you. Well, I have a transformational lifestyle movement called Higher Flow, and the intention is to really inspire and empower people to connect to their higher self and discover their own unique flow in life. And I do a lot of different things. I don't know, I think you're aware of human design, but I'm a manifesting generator, so things can change and shift depending on what lights me up in the moment. And I've done lots of different things throughout the years of starting Higher Flow, which was 2018. But right now, what I'm most inspired to be working on and to be connecting with is women's embodiment and empowerment work. And I know that you came to the first Sovereign Goddess gathering that I put on in Lake Tahoe with two other co-creators, sisters of mine, and we did it again last year. And I've also been a part of the Temple Body Arts Mystery School for Women, where I think I have 350 hours now of teaching through them, and I've done facilitation. I'm actually the first woman that has been honored to speak and to teach about these practices and rituals for women. So I've been really into the sisterhood work and just coming together to uplift and support each other and just remember who we are and why we are here and how powerful we are, and to shift from the playing small to really embracing our sovereignty and our passions and our pleasure and connecting into our divine purpose.
Hell yeah. I love that so much. And I also left out that I attended that series where we met every Wednesday, I think, for a while in 2021. But then you've also hosted a variety of workshops that I've attended before, which have been so fun, like sacred, sexy flows and those types of things. So, can you tell us a little bit more about what it looks like for people to do embodiment work with you?
Yeah, so I have things that are both online and in person, but my favorite thing to do is to activate others through facilitation journeys. So I like to blend so many different modalities that have really helped me and transformed my life, and to turn that into a practice that I've created myself that has worked for me and to share it with others. And it really does look like blending our spirituality with our sexuality and connecting into the divine, creator, life force energy, whatever you want to call it, and bring that energy down into our temple bodies and to awaken these energies. Even just the snake, just being in the year of the snake is just so in alignment with me right now, because it's like as women, we have this unawakened creativity and magic and potential living within our bodies, living at our root, our sacral, moving up into the solar plexus. And most women, it's sleeping. Like we're not really tapped into, our senses and our playfulness and our joy and our inner child. And I help women to really awaken these parts of themselves that may be dormant and sleeping and remember how good it feels to make noises and to be expressive and to dress up. And that's how we magnetize our highest desires when we're in that frequency. So, yeah, that's what I love to do. And it just feels so good to be connected with other women and to share that with them.
Hell yeah. And just so you know, I'm sure that, like you mentioned human design, I will have human design people on the podcast. Like the listeners are familiar with human design, but I don't think that there's, I mean, I don't think that it's super common for even women who are doing the work, like diving deep, going into the shadows and stuff to really be tapped in, tuned in, turned on, right, with their selves and with their power. I'm curious, like, for somebody who's listening, what might it look like for somebody who isn't connected to that kind of thing? Like, how does that show up in their life? Like, what are the different indicators that might show them that they're not actually living in their power in that way?
Yeah, number one, I feel like it would just be a disconnection to their body. So just feeling stuck, not feeling good, feeling stressed out, maybe feeling too much in their masculine energy of go, 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 rather than their feminine energy of more surrendering and allowing. And yeah, that fight or flight energy, just like constant overthinking, people pleasing, trying to receive validation externally through your work or through your partner or through society, whatever it is. So those I feel would be the number one to know that. And just not feeling like there's more to life, but you don't know exactly what it is. And yeah, yeah, just that sounds good.
Hmm.
That's about it.
Yeah, for sure. One thing that I really love and appreciate about you, Renee, is the permission slip that you give to women to be their authentic self and to step into that magnetic, beautiful, radiant life. I remember at High Vibe, no, not High Vibe Fest, what was it? By the People, and you were leading a twerk shop and you were like, Katie, can you come like support and just, be a presence there and like really get into it to help like hype people up? And you said to me, you were like, dress as sexy as you want. And I was like, no one has ever said that to me before. Like I grew up in Texas, like in the church, and I'm not associated with any church anymore, but I was just like, thank you for that permission slip. And I feel like you just living your life gives so many women that permission slip. I'm wondering if you could dive into like you mentioned that you live in Guatemala and like how you ended up there, why you're still there. Maybe show us that view that you're looking at on the other side of the computer.
Yes. I'll show you the view. This is from my kitchen
Oh,
table cloth.
so amazing. Just a casual volcanic lake
Casual
in the
volcano,
background.
exactly. It's wild because I was drawn to come to this magical vortex place back at the end of 2019, and I hosted my first retreat here in 2020, the week that the whole COVID pandemic happened. So we went on lockdown during my retreat. It was one of the most craziest experiences of my life, but I had a decision at that moment if I wanted to leave or stay. And a lot of the retreat participants, they did get really scared and they went through Mexico to get back to the US because the Guatemalan airports were closed. And my partner and I at the time decided, you know what? We really tuned in and felt this was where we were meant to be during this mystery of a time, just so much uncertainty and just trusting ourselves and where we were meant to be. And I am so grateful that I stayed because I had this amazing retreat center, Eagle's Nest, which is where I'm actually hosting my next retreat. And it is unbelievably beautiful. It's high up in the sky, eagles soaring everywhere, huge platform with all the aerial apparatuses. And it's, yes, just such a beautiful place. And that's what originally brought me. And I actually met my partner back then, right before COVID, at this artist residency, Momentum Collective, that I was a part of. So we met 4 or 5 years ago, and then we just started dating about a year ago. And I just kept getting drawn back to this place. There's different places on Earth that are, energy vortexes. They say that this lake is connected to the sacral chakra. So it's a very feminine place. And it is also a very healing place. Like people come here and all of your shadows come up, like your deepest, darkest wounds. And it's not so comfortable for everyone to be here for an extended period of time. And I just kept coming back and embracing all the shit that was coming up and clearing it out. And that's why I'm here. It just is so beautiful and so inspirational. You just look out and you just feel so inspired. And at the same time, there is that shadow. It's like darkness and light. There's people here, like people that are in poverty here. 44% of Guatemalans don't even have clean drinking water.
Whoa.
So, yeah, I've been part of an organization that is helping to reverse that. And it's been really beautiful to actually make an impact here too. So yeah, that's why I keep coming back. Here I am.
Hell
And my
yeah.
partner's here. So he's from England and he doesn't have a visa currently to get into the US. So it just made sense for us to be here, but we're open to go other places as well. We'll see.
Hell yeah. It's so interesting you mentioned that about COVID because I was on a surf, body surf, and yoga retreat in Costa Rica when COVID hit and shutdown happened. And part of me wonders what would have happened if I had just stayed. Um, when I look back on it, there was so much that could have just worked itself out in the US while I stayed in Costa Rica, but I chose to leave Costa Rica because they shut down the beaches and I was like, it is way too hot here to not have access to the
Yeah.
beach, you know?
Yeah.
It's interesting, looking at Lake Atitlán on the other side of your computer because I live on the Truckee River. I'm very blessed to have the river flowing through my backyard. And I have been kind of being like, wow, this is so lovely to have the river, have the river, have the river. And it dawned on me a few weeks ago, I was like, this river is constantly flowing, which to me is a beautiful reminder of the constant changing present moment. And at the same time, the constant hustle that I've been in trying to maintain living here. And looking at the lake that you're looking at, I was like, wow, it's still, right? Like I know it's obviously moving with the boats and the wind and all that kind of stuff, but I was like, oh, I was there last April, May to help run a retreat and at Via Sumaya. And oh my goodness, I totally know what you mean about the sacral chakra being activated there. It brought up so much stuff for me. It was such a beautiful place. And you have another retreat that you're hosting there, is that right?
Yes.
When
Yeah,
is
not to
that? What is that
all.
about?
Yeah, thank you.
Hmm.
That is all women's embodiment and empowerment retreat on May 18th through the 25th, and it's called Wild Awakening, and it's at the iconic Eagle's Nest that I've already been sharing about. I actually teach aerial there every week. It's such a beautiful place to do that. My LED light up cube is there, and I've hosted lots of events there, full moon events, and also have done a lot of performing at different festivals. So it's a really special place to my heart. And going back to that permission slip is getting out of our heads and really trusting the wisdom of our body, listening to our intuition, listening to our womb, listening to our heart space, and allowing that to guide. Because when we feel that full yes in our bodies and we're about to take that leap, it's like that's when the mind comes up and makes up all these excuses of why you shouldn't do it. And so that's so much of the permission slip that I give to others because, yeah, it was a really big deal for me to move here. I sold a lot of my stuff. I sold my car because it was just sitting there. I sold my aerial rig. And just trusting that this is where I'm meant to be at this moment. And so that's what I've been sharing with the different women that feel inspired. If you are feeling my vibe and my energy and want to go deeper into embodiment practices and sacred womb rituals and creative self-expression and tantra and sacred sensuality and so much more, ceremonial cacao, fire ceremony, sauna, goddess photo shoot, all the things, then to really tune in to the wisdom of your body and like feeling that flutter in your belly or your heart and allowing that to be your guide rather than getting stuck in the negative patterns of thinking.
Yeah. I think anything that happens on that lake is going to be magical, and especially when it's your container. So I'm really excited for you to host that. It's going to be amazing. So do people have, because I've never been to the Eagle's Nest. I know when I was there last year, I really wanted to go. Is that where ecstatic dance is on Sundays?
Ecstatic Dance is at Gaia Dance Temple,
Okay,
which I
that's different.
managed last high season for 4 months. I managed the whole dance temple, which was a really wild experience of me really tapping into my divine feminine leadership. And so that's every Sunday. And I am planning to take the retreat participants to Ecstatic Dance. It'll be our last day. But there are other events like an ecstatic yoga dance journey, which I've like facilitated, and then my partner DJs, and we'll actually be doing that during the retreat as well.
Oh, so fun.
Yeah.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that you mentioned that you met your partner like years ago and then y'all just now got together. I remember there was a time, and we can cut this out if you're like, no, I don't want to talk about this, but like there was a time where you were celibate for months and you were like, I think you talked about it on your Instagram maybe, and you were like, I'm honing in my magnetic feminine creative energy. I'm curious if you could talk about that and how that might relate to your current relationship and all that stuff. Because I know, like myself, I've been like, I'm going to be celibate for a little while, and then I just don't. So, yeah, I'm curious of what your experience was with that.
Thank you.
Hmm.
Yeah, I feel like it goes so much back to honoring our sacred no to really magnetize our full body fuck yes in all aspects of life. And for me, I was single for almost 3 years. And in that time, I had sex with just one person. And the most I had went, I think, was 9 months celibate. And then again, I did another 9 months. And that relationship with that person, it was a polyamorous relationship. And I was like, all right, I'll try this thing out. I did an ISTA training and was like feeling more open. And that brought up my biggest wounding around relationships of being the more anxious attachment style and wounds of being abandoned and stuff coming up from childhood of that's what I felt from my father, and it was a really big opportunity for me to clear all of that. And once I had said no to that relationship, I felt that I had really created that space to call someone in that I actually really desired and that met my standards and expectations and all the things. It's not perfect, it's not this perfect dream relationship, but it is in a way, we're doing the work, difficult things come up, but there's just so much love and communication and sacredness and just beauty when we do that work on ourselves. And during those 3 years, it's like I used my sexual energy towards my creative projects. And that's when I had birthed Sovereign Gathering. That was like a really big thing that I had done with two other sisters. And so I was really channeling that sexual energy in a different way. Um, yeah, and I just feel very, even just the way I dress, like I dress very sensual and sexual, and that doesn't mean that like I'm trying to fuck or like have sex, It's just I'm connected to my life force energy. I love to dance, I love to be free, and I love to be wild, and it's just a fun energy to be connected with.
Hell yeah. I mean, gosh, there's just, I think a lot of people don't realize connection. I know I didn't realize the connection between creativity, like what we are creating in the world, what we're birthing into the world, what we are manifesting into the world, and our sexual energy, which is also creation energy.
Yes.
Yeah. And like when I realized that those are intertwined, I was like, oh shit. And you mentioned something that got me thinking because I was like, yeah, when I think about like the times where I tell myself I'm going to be celibate and then I don't end up being celibate for as long as I intended, it's usually because I'm like, well, like the thing that I really truly want, the thing that would be a fuck yes, probably doesn't exist. And I'm curious what your thoughts are on that.
I mean, I would go back to your beliefs and where that belief comes from. Because do you really, truly deep down believe that there is a possibility that there's someone out there that does fully align with your values and who you are and what you desire in a relationship? And have you seen that externally?
I think
Because
that
we don't like see examples of it that often.
totally. And I think that's it, is that I'm like, I don't, here in Truckee, you know how Truckee is, right? It's like ski bums and snowboard bros. Like that's what we get. That's what we get a lot of here. So I'm like, shit, do I need to move to Nevada City, like where my people are, right? Like, do I need to move to Costa Rica or Sedona or like somewhere where the hippies are, like the free thinkers are, in order to find him, And actually, when I was I can't believe I'm saying this on the podcast, but when I was in Guatemala, we did, at the retreat, we did this really powerful breathwork session where we were like knee to knee in a circle, holding hands and breathing in and out of our nose, like pretty aggressively. The second time that I've done this type of breath work, but I had this like really clear vision of me and this man and our child, and we were like at Via Sumaya years from now, like running a retreat, but he was like standing there all stoic, like holding our baby, and I was like, I'm not gonna go into the details of what this man looks like because I don't want people like hitting me up. Or maybe I do, I don't know, but like it was like such a specific type of man, right? Where I was like, I have maybe seen this type of person like twice in my adulthood. You know what I mean? And so I'm like, damn, like I don't see him anywhere. Like, where the fuck is he? Am I supposed to, what should I do to magnetize him to me, Renee?
Yeah, so I actually started to hang out, like me and my partner, we had known each other. We met at that artist residency 5 years ago. We commented, liked each other's stuff on social media here and there. We both had partners at the time when we met, and I had actually booked him for a static dance because he was playing at Gaia last season. And where it all happened was when I actually quit Gaia and I was like, held my boundary. I was like, this is a no for my life right now because I'm calling in my more fuck yes life of my career and what I'm available for. And I got this performance opportunity, and I completely had this shift where I decided to say yes to myself and what lit me up. And so I started performing more. I was just going out more. I was having fun. I was connecting with girlfriends. I wasn't seeking anything. I was just in my body. I was in my flow. I was feeling myself. And that's when it happened. When I stopped the seeking, when I stopped the looking, and I was just happy just with me. I just let go of this opportunity and I was just like, woo, let's go. And then we ran into each other in the middle of the street buying some fruit and vegetables at the side market, and boom. Next thing you know, we're living together. We're coming up on a year soon.
Hell yeah.
It's been a wild ride.
Absolutely. It's so, I mean, that's what everybody says. They're like, when you stop looking, right? Like when you focus on yourself. And then I feel like the next thought is like, but what if I'm doing that in order to get to that place, right? And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna focus on myself now. Like, I'm gonna look at me. Like I'm not looking for anybody else. Where is he? It's like I'm like I don't know. It's like I can see myself and feel myself like struggling to get to that point. And there are things in my life that I know, and I'm sure listeners are feeling this way too, where there are things in our lives where we know I have to cut that out. Like that right there is not serving me. That job, that relationship, that whatever is not, that commitment is not serving me and is not a fuck yes. And how do you get to that point in your body where you're like, okay, I feel safe? Or maybe it's a nervous system question, right? Because at least for me, I'm doing something right now that is not a fuck yes, but it's paying my bills. And so I'm like, how do I jump and leap and trust that I can say no to that and the universe is still going to protect me and hold me?
Yeah, I feel like it's a balance between, I feel like our heart and our minds, our masculine and our feminine energies. If there's something that is supporting you in some way, even though it isn't a fuck yes, but it's also supporting you in a way that is allowing you to transition onto your path of what is a fuck yes, then not just rushing yourself out of it, like easing your way out of it, not forcing or rushing, but easing and allowing it to flow. And yeah, I feel like there's always things that we have to do in this life that isn't a full yes. Like, there's dogs here that are really annoying and there's dog shit everywhere. And yeah, I have to take this certain path to get to where I'm going. It's full of dog shit. So, like, sometimes we do have to do things in life, but you just having that awareness and you making that thought that, okay, this is not what I want for my life anymore. What do I actually want? What are my highest desires? And starting to take those aligned action steps. So, not, ignoring it, which is what a lot of people do. They don't like their 9 to 5 job and they just continue to do it their entire lives. But it's like starting to make a plan of how to get out of it, taking those aligned action steps and also being open, like being in your feminine, being open and receptive to new opportunities and experiences that are available to you.
Hell yeah. Absolutely. Yes, am I am open. I am open to receiving all of the opportunities, all of the experiences that are more aligned. I actually had a friend who I used to work with here in Truckee. He moved back home to Vermont and he texted me the other day and he's like, "Hey, I'm now going to start living and working at this retreat center. It's absolutely beautiful. If you ever want to host retreats here, let me know." And I was like, "Ooh, university, we were so close. Like, I want to live at a retreat center and I want to work at a retreat center. I don't want to be in charge of like running my own retreats, right? Because I'm a projector in human design. So it's so much better for me to just like show up, share my gifts, and then go back into my little solitude. Like doing
Yeah.
all the logistics and that kind of thing is like way more for the Gens and the generators of the world and even the manifestors to like come up with the ideas and then invite me into it. But I was like, all right, universe, like we're on the right path, right? Like we're making connections with people at retreat centers, right? Like I am totally open to that retreat life. Call me in. Let's go.
I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned the school that you are studying at, the Temple Body School,
Arts.
Arts Temple, what is it called?
Temple Body Arts Mystery School.
Yes. What is that all about? Tell me more.
Yeah, so it's a mystery school of living tantra and sacred sensuality for divine feminine leaders. And it is run by Sophia Tom, who is my sister and mentor. And now we've done some co-creations together. And yeah, I've been a part of it since 2022 when I was going through a shift in my life. And it really is a deep dive into the feminine mysteries. It's a lot about tuning into our lunar archetypes and working with our cycle. And that's really, really powerful to know where we are in our cycle and what to focus our energy and attention on. If we're bleeding, it doesn't make sense to have all these meetings and, our schedule completely packed out. It's like creating space for us to rest and to receive and to tune into our intuition and to tap into our self-care and yeah, in other parts of our cycle, maybe when we're ovulating, it's like, all right, I'm out here in the world. I'm showing myself this is what I do. I'm running a workshop or some sort of event, being seen in the world. Yeah, it's a powerful sisterhood of like-minded women that want to come together to support and uplift each other. And Like I said, I have 350 hours now. I've helped facilitate her last priestess initiation, and it's just another beautiful way to dive into remembering who we truly are as women.
Absolutely. Ooh, I love that. And I love watching the videos that you have from that school and just like
Yeah.
the primal activation that is on display. I'm like, fuck yeah, that's again, it's the permission slip. Like we need more of that for sure. So do you schedule your entire life around your cycle? Meaning like if you're going to facilitate workshops, you do that when you're ovulating and all that good stuff. I have someone else who I interviewed who is a womb shaman and is also helping women to get more in tune with their cycles. But I'm curious what your practices are with cycle syncing in your life and business.
Yeah, I'm always aware of where I am on my cycle, and I'm always very kind and compassionate with myself, depending on where I am, and not to force or rush things. If I am bleeding and I'm not feeling the best, that it's okay to cancel something, like a meeting with someone. And with my retreat, I purposely put it right before the new moon, which is the wild woman archetype, which is what I work with, and it's the luteal phase, and it's that time of our shadow coming up to the surface, but also our values and like what really matters to us in our lives and speaking our truth and using our voice. And so I purposely put it right before that time. And right now, I should be bleeding. If it's all lined up, I should be bleeding right after the retreat. So we'll see, but it's not perfect. I'm doing the best that I can. It's like that's what I invite everyone to do. Just show up as your best self in each and every moment, exactly where you are. And you are whole and complete in this moment.
Hell yeah. I love that so much. I love that you planned your retreat around that and have I've never heard anyone mention the luteal phase being like that's when you're speaking your truth and like reconnecting with your values. I'm currently in the luteal, um, the Ludi phase, as I like to call it, right now. And I had that moment like a few days ago where I had to sit my boss down and be like, I'm not available for this. I'm not available for this. I'm not available for this. And like I was shaking, but I also felt really like clear that I needed to set those boundaries and I needed to be like speaking my truth in that at that time. Whereas like I've been feeling like saying this for weeks, but it wasn't until this week that I actually felt comfortable saying it, which is so interesting that you bring that up.
Mhm. I love that. Yeah, it's connected to the goddess archetype of Kali Ma, and she will burn shit down when it is not working.
Yes.
So wait, and it's yeah, just all about boundaries and stepping into your self-worth. So I'm glad that you did that for yourself.
Thank you. I am too.
Yeah.
Renee, I'm curious. Okay, this is a question that I'm starting to ask everybody, which is what are 1 to 3 books that you think everyone should read? Whether they're related to the topics of today or not, doesn't matter, but 1 to 3 books that have kind of changed your life.
I'd probably say Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life. I still listen to her stuff. It's so wild. I mean, she was back in the 80s, and I mean, I was born in the 80s, so I didn't listen to her back then, but I just feel like her wisdom just shines through. And I even send her like some videos on YouTube to my mom sometimes because I feel like she would really resonate, and even to some of my clients. And yeah, I don't read as many books anymore because I'm like traveling, so it doesn't really make sense for me to have books. But I do a lot of podcasting. Um, but there was one other book that I was going to say, but now it just totally left me. But I definitely say that one, You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay.
What are your favorite podcasts right now?
I really like Sahara Rose's podcast and Lacey Phillips, To Be Magnetic. It's a lot about manifestation. And I used to listen to Blue, but I'm not sure if she has her podcast right now. Blue of Earth. I think she just is starting up again. But
Very
those are
cool.
probably my top three favorites. And Aubrey Mar.
Yes, all good ones. I've listened to two of those, and I saw Sahara Rose at perform. She DJ'd at High Vibe Fest last year. It was really cool
Oh
to see
yeah,
her. Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. So Renee, we'll wrap up by letting us know how people can work with you, where people can find you on the interwebs. You mentioned your retreat, but what else do you have going on if someone's like, wow, this woman is absolutely incredible. I need to know more.
Yes, well, you can go to my website, which is myhigherflow.com. You can also find me on Instagram, myhigherflow. You can also find me on Facebook under my name, Renee Guay. And yeah, I have that amazing Wild Awakening Women's Retreat in May if you feel inspired to come to Lake Atitlán in Guatemala and take that leap of faith with me to transform into this new year. And I also have online offerings. Do one-on-one coaching with women, and I also have a group course program coming through soon. So watch out for that as well. It might have already been launched and dropped once this podcast comes out. So you can stay tuned for that. And I'd love to connect with you if you feel inspired. Thank
Amazing.
you.
Thank you. Thanks for being here.